Actor David Henrie is kicking off his second season of Wizards Beyond Waverly Place, and his co-star Selena Gomez just got married. He tells all and the secrets of his success on this edition of the Arroyo Grande Show. Come on. I'm Raymond Arroyo. Welcome to Arroyo Grande. Go subscribe to the show right now. I know it's annoying, but just turn the notifications on, and then I won't have to mention it again. I don't want you to miss anything. And if you want to support our work, RaymondArroyo.com. You can donate there. From 2007 to 2012, he played Justin Russo on the Disney hit Wizards of Waverly Place, and he recently revived the series as a producer. Along the way, he starred in hit movies, produced and directed his own projects, and built a family. His Wizards co-star, Selena Gomez, recently got married to Benny Blanco. David Henrie was at the wedding. That's where our conversation started. Have you met Benny Blanco?
Yes, I have.
You approve?
You know, okay, so the first time I went to, yes, but the first time I went to dinner with him, we went to an Italian food place, and I was like, all right, I'm Italian. I'm going to let this guy order. Let's see how he does here. Okay. You know, this is a big deal. We're having an Italian meal with Italians. It was me, my wife, Selena, Benny, and a couple of our mutual friends.
And did she bring him to sort of get your approval of him?
I think there was a implied approval there. Like, she set it up. It was like, you're going to meet him. It's a thing. And he had heard all about me. And so, you know, we had a great freaking time. This guy can order food like nobody's business. This guy knows Italian food. He knows food like crazy. And you know why I liked him? Because I think he really cares for her, and he's really supportive and empowering of her. And he's got this idea that he should, you know, sacrifice for her. And I think those are all really good things, really, really good things. And he loves his mother. I always say, like, I tell my daughters this, like, whenever you meet a guy one day, like, look how he treats his mom. He loves his mother. That's a big deal. There's no contention there.
Yep.
And that was really important to me. So, yes, I think he will make her happy.
I love it. You joined SAG at 5 years old, Screen Actors Guild, at 5 years old.
I was a wee little lad.
What was it? What first drew you into this whole acting thing? Did you have stage parents?
No. I mean, I think many folks out there can relate to having a kid they think is funny. And I grew up in a big family, big Italian household, and I was just the funny one. Like, I would entertain, I would make people laugh. We'd do little plays for the family. And one day on TV, we're all sitting around watching TV, and a commercial came on for child actors and come to Hollywood, and there's a manager, and there's this whole special on this one particular manager in California.
Okay, this already sounds like a horror movie.
It sounds like a horror movie.
Yeah, I'm already kind of panicking.
It totally should be, and you should be alerted when you see those things, because most of the time they're scams, right? Yeah. But this person seemed normal. Okay. And so I begged my parents to call them. My mom called them and said, we happen to be coming to California. You're a manager. My son would really wants to do this. I think he's talented. Looking back on it, it's what every parent thinks of their kid, right? And it's been a total scam. Yeah. But it all works out. I go in to meet the manager. I audition for the manager. My mom and dad are there, making sure it's very safe. Yeah. And the manager goes, hey, before you go back to Arizona, which is where I grew up, you should go on this audition for Burger King. It's a commercial. Go on this commercial audition for Burger King. And I go on this audition, I walk in the room, and it's all a bunch of, like, stage kids. They weren't very normal. They were like these little robot kids. And I was just this normal, you know, hockey player, athlete kid from Arizona. And I just liked entertaining. And so I walk in the audition room. The guy's got a Maple Leafs jersey on. We start talking hockey. At the end of it, he goes, all right, can you do a couple lines? And I said the lines. And he goes, well, you're a normal kid, aren't you? And I was like, yeah, man, that's like my first thing. Like, it's kind of fun. You're nice. You like hockey. I like this thing. And he goes, well, do you want the job? And I was like, heck yeah, I love acting. Acting's great. and I did it. And next thing you know, I get this, like, huge residual check, like 30 grand or something like that for, like, a kid, you know. Wow. It was crazy. Yeah. And my parents were very good. And the number one thing I tell parents of kids who they think should act or are talented is you are going to potentially screw this kid up if you take this too seriously. Treating a kid actor is like treating a kid in a sport. Let them have fun, let them have their time, let them enjoy it, but always let them know we don't need this.
Yeah.
This is not, you're not the breadwinner, you're not any of that. The second the parental dynamic flips and the kid is the breadwinner, the parents need the kid, they're quitting their jobs, they're moving across the country. The second any of that happens,
it's little emperor time.
You're setting yourself up for a disaster. That's exactly right. And you're going to scar this poor kid. I was blessed that my parents didn't need me at all. In fact, my dad was always like, the second you're done, we're out of California. Some of those people scare me. And so I was very...
But you all did move to California when you were 9.
We're back and forth. Yeah, we're back. We always had a house in Arizona, and then we had a house in California, and we stayed in California. My dad was back and forth for real estate. But I was always raised with an atmosphere that was very supportive, very loving, and they didn't need me to do this.
How did the Wizards of Waverly Place come into your life? Tell me about the backstory of that.
It's a very, very good question.
Yeah.
Very good question. Kind of a crazy story. So I had, the good fortune of working a lot as a kid, and Disney will track kids that are working in adult shows and kids that are doing more studio level content. They have their eye on them, right? And so I was doing shows on Fox and on CBS. So I'd been working, so they had their eye on me. They offered me a role on That's So Raven, which was Raven Simone, and I did that. I did many episodes of that, and that went very well. So they're already familiar with me. And then they brought me in to be like the next Shia LaBeouf because he did a show called Even Stevens, and they wanted a male-led show for them, which was called The Amazing O'Malleys. And so they cast me, and then they go, we need to find someone to play your twin sister, and they do a nationwide search for someone, and they go, we found this wonderful girl out of Texas named Selena Gomez. We think she's going to be a great number 2 on the show. So we do this pilot, we do this show called The Amazing O'Malleys. It's not Wizards of Waverly Place, and they test it. It doesn't test well. They call me back and they go, David,
why didn't it test well?
They don't want male leads.
Oh.
They thought they wanted a male lead, and then the testing came back and said, we need female lead. So they said, David, you did your job, thank you, but we're gonna let you go. We're gonna create a whole new show called Wizards of Waverly Place, and Selena's gonna be the lead of it, and we're gonna find something else for you down the line, we'll figure it out. So I go, okay, that's fine. And I started going out for other shows as an actor would. I got a call back a couple months later, and they go, you know what, David, we tried to audition people for your role and it just didn't work. You're the guy. Can you come back and be number 2 now instead of number 1 and jump back into the picture? And you know what? I looked at it and it wasn't the original vision, but at the end of the day, I always wanted to be a part of the Disney family. I also wanted to write, I wanted to direct, and they were willing to empower those elements of my life. So I became the youngest writer in Disney Channel history. I got on the show. It was then called Wizards of Waverly Place, and it became the hit that it was meant to be. So, God works in mysterious ways, and I don't know if my life would have gone the way that it went if that original show went, and I'm very happy with how it's turned out.
Yeah.
Very happy.
It's incredible. It's
crazy.
It's also a smart lesson, and part of what the show we do on this show is we delve into the life lessons and the practical examples that people can actionably put into their own lives. That is a great one that you unwittingly just told. Sometimes the path you think you're on is really that path, and you kind of have to wait for the turn to happen.
You're 100% right. You just don't know, and you got to be open to those unexpected opportunities. One door closes, one door opens, and it's like, it sounds, cliche, but it's true. Like if that original show went, I don't know if I would have met my wife. I don't know if I'd have my children that I have now. I don't know if my life would have taken the path that it went. Truly, I don't think it would have. So looking back, I'm like, thank God. It wasn't what I wanted.
The O'Malleys didn't work out.
It didn't work
They
out.
closed out of town.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Tell me, you're in a unique position. That's So Raven. My daughter, Mariela, I remember her watching That's So Raven and then slavishly watching you all in the Wizards of Waverly Place. So I know you had a devoted fan base because they would come to my house and watch en masse and binge watch before there was streaming, I might add. But tell me, we also know a lot of the kids in this universe, child actors, Disney child actors, burn out and flame out. What happens there? What is that? Is it just rebellion against feeling I've been cast as goody two shoes and I got to break out of this, or is it something else? And how did you avoid it?
It's a So those are great questions. And I think for your listeners out there, especially parents who are like wanting to go down the child acting path with their kids, I've thought a lot about this. I'm going to write a book on it one day because I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly, truly, of the child acting world. And I have friends that are very successful actors now that made it out positively, and I have friends that really went downhill and are still dealing with it to this day. I mean, I just visited a dear friend in the hospital who tried to commit suicide. Please pray for him. I'm not going to say his name, but pray for him. That suffered the dark side of being a child actor. And here's the crux of it. You are getting involved in something as a kid. Your brain is not ready to handle the pressures of a professional environment. God didn't make children to be professionals. He made them to be children. So you're in an atmosphere that's counter to your nature. And so as you're coming into puberty, as you're coming into your boyhood or your girlhood, you're in this environment that you're not supposed to be. So if you don't have the right parental structure guiding you through that and helping you navigate that in a very intentional and safe way, you're setting yourself up for disaster. It's not this business where you go, you know what, you're gonna be a kid actor, I'm gonna have fun, we're gonna go to Hollywood, auditions, and I'm gonna work and grind. And it's like a very dangerous place that if you're not intentional, you're not protective, it can set your kid up for a very difficult future. I mean, I had a CPA and a lawyer and agents and managers before puberty. Like, that's not normal.
No.
Thank God I had parents that literally went, we're going to protect you. You're going to be taken care of. We're not touching your money. It'll be safe in a place.
And you weren't the breadwinner, which often happens with a lot of these child actors, particularly the biggest ones.
I've seen it play out. I've seen it play out where they get to 18 years old, 17, 16 years old. They go, wait, where's my money?
Yeah.
How much were you paying yourself? Hold on, wait, I'm in charge. I'm the one making the money. And I don't want you as a manager. They're crying out saying, I want you as a parent.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to be my manager. And I'm not supposed to be the breadwinner. Kids can't articulate this, but they feel it.
Yeah.
There's a dynamic, and I went through it with my own mom, because my mom, she coached me on all my kid auditions.
You and Lorenzo.
Me and my brother.
Yeah.
Fear the Walking Dead, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I mean, he's a big actor.
Yeah.
My mom coached me.
How did you do that?
So we'd run the lines with her. She'd give us direction, and she was very good. She's a very good coach.
Yeah.
However, when I was 12, 13, 14, it got to a place where I instinctively was rebelling. I didn't want that dynamic. Mm-hmm. And my mom goes, at one point, she did a great thing as a mother. She said, David, this is not worth our relationship. So I'm done. I'm completely done with it. You do your own thing, find your own coaches, or not, do whatever you want, but I will never coach you again. Mm. And she didn't. And it was the best thing we could have done, because now I can look back on it and see it clearly. But at the time, I was screaming out saying, I want you as a mom. I don't want you. I don't want to listen to you as a professional. Uh-huh. And she sensed it, and she said, this is not worth it. We're done with that. And it was the best thing. I have the best relationship with my mother, very Sicilian Italian mother. Uh-huh. We have the best relationship, and that came because of that. That could have went sideways. It really could have.
Yeah.
And I've seen it go sideways.
Yeah, it is a trend. I mean, you see it in particularly these young actors who are so beloved in these roles that our daughters, in many cases, attach themselves to and want to emulate. And then within a 5-year span, it's blitzkrieg.
Yes.
It's over. And it's such a train wreck.
Yeah.
And you do wonder what fuels that. And I guess a part of it is that rebellion and that parental inversion.
And also, I wanted to add to something you said, because that's a big part of it as well. This is probably the final ingredient. Yeah. So you're in this environment, you're young, you don't know who you are, you're trying to figure out your own identity in an atmosphere you're not made for, and you're also being told who to be. So your agents, your managers, your lawyers, your directors, your producers, they're all saying, we need this out of you. We want you to be this certain person, and here's how you do publicity, and here's the image you should take. Our generation is millennials and younger have such a difficult time trying to find their identity, and they have identity crises more than ever. Yeah. And imagine then being thrown into a professional environment where everyone's telling you how to behave. You don't know who you are. Yeah. So you put all those ingredients together, and it's a recipe for disaster. Yeah. So when kids break out of Disney, they took the job, they agreed to it. This is something they wanted to do. So you're supposed to behave a certain way. You're not supposed to tarnish the brand, right? Mm-hmm. And as an adult, you can understand that. As a kid, it's a hard thing to assimilate. Yeah. So then when you're done with it, you go, oh wait, I don't have to do that anymore. Who am I? I'm going to go the opposite way. I'm going to go do something Totally different.
Yeah.
So I wanted to add that because you alluded to that in your question. I think that's an important ingredient
it's a key piece. I always call it, and forgive me, I call it the Julie Andrews complex, because the great Julie Andrews, she is Maria von Trapp, she is Mary Poppins. People forget, during a very sad period in the late 70s, early 80s, she and her husband, Blake Edwards, a great director, decided to do kind of very flagrant, she did topless scenes in movies, and I get why she did it. As an actress, she's trying to shake the old image, but guess what? They love you in that old image. And the difference is she was a grown woman as opposed to a young girl now, or a young woman, 17, 16, 18, trying to break out of that expectation.
Yes.
And I know how stultifying that can be. I mean, as public figures, we know this.
Yes.
People expect David Henrie to be something in a certain way, and you're bigger than that. We all have different bandwidth.
Yes.
Tell me about the Wizards. You were on air for what, nine seasons?
Well, it should have been 9 seasons. We did 130 episodes, which was the longest running Disney Channel show, I think, maybe to this day.
Ever.
Someone will correct me if I'm wrong. But it was a lot of episodes, some well over 100, 120, 130, something like that. The way that they categorized seasons was different back then.
Yeah.
So nowadays, that could be, if you do 10 episode seasons, that's well over 10 seasons. But it was 5-6 years of life, something like that. It was a lot.
Why 12 years later? I know you and Selena Gomez both wanted to revive this series.
Yes.
What took so long?
Yeah.
And B, why do it 12 years later?
In my own professional and personal life, I just don't force anything. Like, things have to happen organically. They have to make sense organically. I'm not a big fan of forcing something through.
Yeah.
Probably could have gotten it earlier, but it happened organically. Honestly, Selena and I would just get together. I'd gotten married. I started having kids. She and my wife became close. She loves my children. So she'd just come over to the house and we'd just be talking about where our characters were. We'd have a glass of wine. We'd have dinner. We'd just be enjoying life, right?
Yeah.
And after years of this, I turned to her at one dinner and I was just like, Selena, we have a show. This stuff we've been talking about, this is a show. Let's just do this without wine in front of Disney. Let's just get together, let's chat with them, and let's see what they say. And we did. We formalized it more than that. And we sat with the executives, we pitched, and they really responded to the pitch.
You had a general vision for the show at this point, an outline or no?
Oh, totally, yeah. We had a strong vision, strong outline. We had a real pitch, we had slides, we had a presentation. It was like a real thing.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a real thing. And they said, we love it, it's not the right time, but come back later. So we paused. We came back maybe a year and a half later, revisited it, and they said, this is the right time. We feel we're ready to go now. And, Selena and I really, most importantly, look at ourselves as the guardian of the spirit of the original show and trying to bring that to a whole new audience, but at the same time, giving a big warm hug to that original fan.
Yeah.
And that's what we've been doing.
Well, tell me about the response to this. I mean, I'm amazed. I know personally some college kids who grew up with the original show, they're binge watching it now on their phones.
Unbelievable. Yeah, on their phones, right? Not on their VCR or their TiVo like back in the day. Yeah. It's when you're reviving a show, it's almost like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. It's so hard to please everybody. Yeah. There's been so many revivals, so many reboots, so many sequels to pieces of IP people loved that have just failed miserably. Yeah. And this going in, it's like you have there's a narrow window here that you got to thread. And if you can do that, then you're going to have a big hit on your hands. So we were aware of all the failure scenarios, and we just tried our hardest to stick to the core themes, but try to embrace a new audience, at the same time, give that hug to the original fan. And it was a coordinated effort. We have wonderful writers that were fans of the original show with their kids. They grew up watching it with their children, so they're very familiar with the original IP. And for Selena and I, it was really just guarding the familial themes of the original show, the timeless familial values. The Russos have each other's backs always, bringing this to a new generation with a new set of circumstances. And the one genius thing that I think our writers did a really good job at was bringing a new element in that could learn these new values. And this new element represents the new generation. It was a girl who doesn't have a family. Right. So it's this orphan arc. You bring in this young kid who's rebellious and wild, and you bring her into an atmosphere she does not want to be a part of or trust, which is a stable family. Yeah. And your character didn't
necessarily want to go back either.
No,
I mean, he goes reluctantly.
I had moved on. And so you start people almost at the opposite of the value system that people are used to. And with the viewers, we rediscover that. And that was the secret sauce to like making college kids like the watch through numbers were crazy. Like they all watched the show. The feedback was overwhelmingly positive, even from Variety and like Hollywood Reporter, all these places that you see it come up and you're like, oh no, they're gonna kill us or they're gonna love it. What's happening? You know, they really loved it, and I think you can feel the heart that we put into this, and the timeless familial values that are being learned in the show yet again.
Wow, what was it like that first day? You walk onto set, it's the Russo reunion.
I was so nervous.
That had to be weird.
I was so nervous. I was so nervous because I know the pressure, and this is a big investment from Disney, and they're stepping out with the show. They're using our show to bring in other shows behind it and recapture like a golden era of Disney. So it's like we're opening the door not just for our show, but for shows behind it that are coming through the door as well. So like the moment before that first action, my heart was racing. It was like, I felt it going like this. And I said a little prayer. I literally just said, you know what? None of that matters. God, you've given me a set of skills and I'm going to honor you by doing a great job with them. And so everything went away. My heart rate came down and I just said, I'm going to crush this moment. Right here, this moment. You know, if you build this thing up too big in your head, then the pressure crushes you. But I said, one scene at a time, one line at a time. I don't know if I can do the whole show. It's so big in my mind, but you know what? I'm just going to do this scene and I'm going to crush, use what God's given me to do a great job in this moment. And that's that. And it went great. It went great.
Yeah,
my heart was out of my chest.
No, it's been a huge hit. Tell me, I know you and Selena reunited in those early episodes. And I know she's coming back in the second season, which people said, oh, that's it. She's doing one show and she's out. She'll never be back again. Not true.
She loves, like, her. I've been so blessed with our friendship. And the show meant so much to her, the original show. Like, she honestly, that's some of, she's said this publicly, like, those are some of her best memories in that show. It did everything. It launched her career. It built everything that she has now. So this matters to her so much, so much. She has been a wonderful partner and ally all throughout the way in major decisions in the show. We were just on the phone a few days ago talking about season 2 stuff. Like she, even while she's shooting other things, she still cares and she's still there.
That's an odd thing for somebody to go back. And particularly, look, if she was just cutting a few albums on the side and, eating bonbons, you'd think, oh, well, she needs something to do with her time. The woman's got other shows she's shooting and movies. And she's a busy person, as you are. Why do you think she was interested in coming back? And what's the secret to the chemistry that you two enjoy?
That's a really good question. We've always had a sibling relationship.
You never dated?
She has a, no, we never dated. Okay. No, we never dated. She has, you're funny. She has
I'm inquisitive.
Yeah. No, we never dated. She has a sister now. Growing up, but her sister's much younger, and she came out from Texas and she was 13 years old, and she's a little girl. I was a little older than her. And, I'm from a big Italian family, so I always looked at my job as just creating a family atmosphere on set, and we had that on our set, and I think it was a very safe place for her on set, and it was a place filled with love.
Yeah,
and
which is a rare thing.
A very rare thing. Like if you ask all of our crew members to this day, all the people that worked on our set, they say it's some of their best memories. Like it was a wonderfully familial, loving set. The atmosphere was fantastic. And I think that represents a very special place in her heart because she's gone off and she's done so many big things, so much that she has in life. And I think all of us who
thing is she's witnessed all those murders in that kid. It's awful what's happened to her.
With those two elderly men.
Yeah, that's right. Running around
those funny guys, those elderly men. So I think all of us, when we get to a certain point in life, we look back on fond memories. And that show did have a very fond memory. It had a great reception. And I think she looks at kids now and she goes, you know what? I want to share that with a new generation. Because I think she sees this generation more than ever could use some nice, Raymond, the stories that we've heard that we didn't even know the effect that this had on audiences is crazy.
Like what?
We've met kids, Selena and I both have met kids all over the world that have said, hey, I was in a really dark place in my life and I was having suicidal thoughts. And your show happened to be on in the background and I sat and I watched it. And it took me out of that mode and I didn't engage the thoughts. And your show kind of saved me.
Saved my life.
Saved my life, literally. And then you meet another kid who's from a broken household, who has a terrible home life. And he comes up and he's like, hey, I got a pretty crappy dad and a pretty crappy mom. But your show showed me that there are parents out there who care and who want to have a good family and who will be there relentlessly for their children. And so I thought maybe I want that one day. Like, I've heard this literally all over the world, stories like this. So it's like, the shows can, if you make an uplifting and positive show, it really can make a difference.
I agree with you, 120%, and we don't have enough programming like that.
No.
I mean, that's part of why I wanted to do this. You know, I came across something. We have the World War II Museum in New Orleans, and there's a Bob Hope exhibit. Bob Hope, the great comedian.
Yeah.
Bob Hope toured the world entertaining the troops during war. And there was a quote on the wall, and it struck me so deeply when I read it, and I thought, you've got to remember this because this is really why you do what you do. And he said, we went around the world to remind the guys what normalcy looked like and what they were really fighting for. And I thought, that's what we should be doing in media every day, reminding people of the good and the normal and the true, and showing them what's worth fighting for. It seems to me, in many ways, that's what you're capturing and holding on to in this show.
Honestly, like for me personally, yes. And for me personally, and all the things that I do and produce in my company, like that, to showcase beauty, truth, and goodness, to bring that normalcy in an entertaining way to people, that is what drives me. Like that literally is my mission statement in life. I love how Bob Hope said that, because that is so true.
No, it kind of, it shook me when I read it. I said, that's exactly what we should be doing, we need to be doing in every facet of media. That should be it. Now, I know you had some difficulties, you and your wife. You were trying to get pregnant, and you had a series of miscarriages. Look, we know what that's like. It's an awful, depressing, gutting thing. And then you're in Rome. What happens? This is a Selena story too, by the way. She's along for the ride,
She's
right?
along for the ride.
Yeah.
So me and Selena Gomez and my wife go to meet the Pope.
This sounds like its own mini-series. Selena Gomez, David Henrie, and his wife go to meet the Pope.
Yes, if I added a rabbi and a pastor in the mix, it's like a joke, right? We're setting up a joke here. And a wizard. Yes, it's like we're setting up a barroom joke.
Yeah.
But no, I had a buddy who said, hey, I heard about what you're going through with your miscarriages. I happen to know the Pope pretty well. He was making a movie on him. He said, I'd like you to come meet him and see if you can get a special blessing. I happened to be having dinner when I got that information, and I said, hey, can I bring a friend? And I turned to Selena, I was like,
you want to come?
I was like, you want to come to Rome? My buddy's going to take us. And I said, hey, can Selena Gomez come? And he was like, yeah, of course. Like, this will be great. So we all go to Rome to meet the Pope. And I learned how to say in Italian, Papa Francesco, per piacere, puoi pregare per me, mia moglie, per arriva un bambino. Just please pray for us that we can have a baby. And I mentioned a little more about the miscarriages. And he took my wife and I's hands and he put them under his. So he sandwiched our hands in between his. And he said, don't worry, you'll have a baby soon. He said a prayer, he said a special blessing over us. Then he put his arms on both of our shoulders and said another blessing and prayer over us. And I'm not kidding you, 9 months later, Pia Filomena Francesca is born. And Francesca for Pope Francis. And he for anyone wondering about the activity of the chair works. The chair Peter works. So
still operable.
It's still operable. It still has power. Yeah, I mean, crazy, right?
And then you had the other children?
And then I have 2 more kids. Now we have 3 children. Keep us in your prayers. My wife still struggles with miscarriages, but we got 3 kids now, 6, 4, and 2, and they're wonderful.
How has being a dad and a husband changed, shifted, deepened the work you're doing or the work you're called to do?
You know, it's everything. Like, I meet a lot of young people that are like, I have to wait to a certain point to be able to have kids. The opposite was true for me. Like, the second I started having kids, it's like my brain, I don't know, nature, adaptation, I don't know what it is. Like, the second I started having kids, my brain shifted gears.
Yeah.
And I got so much more focused, so much more precise, so much more intentional. It made me question myself. Who am I? What do I stand for? What do I want my kids to look up to? What am I going to pass down to them? What am I going to achieve? Like, it all kind of clicked in my mind, and I got this fire under me.
Well, it turns you into a man.
It turns you into
I always tell people this. If you want to be a man, go have a family. Go find a wife and go have a family. You'll quickly discover what manhood is supposed to be. And the reason for your life. What are you doing this for?
Yes. 100%. And you rise to the occasion. You will rise to the occasion. Like, the time to have kids is now. Like, do it now. Don't wait. Like, waiting is you will never be ready. You will never be ready. You'll never have enough money. You'll never be ready. It just do it.
I do know some guys who waited. They're like 60 on the second wife, and now they've got the children. Now they're too old they can't get out of the chair. They wave to the children while other people care for them. That's not the road, guys. I mean, look, God bless them, but do it while you're young, while you can keep up with them, because they will teach you. You grow with them.
You are 100% right, and I literally just got a call from a buddy on set who goes, so after our talk, my wife got pregnant. We're gonna do this now, because I told him, I was like, he's like 28 or 29. I go, you have a finite amount of energy, my friend. Yes. I'm 35 now, and when I was 27 when we had our first kid, even to now, my energy level is a little different. You only have so much. God built us this way. He didn't build us to have kids in our 50s and 60s. Like, He built us to have kids at an early age, because you have a finite amount of energy, and you want to spend that energy with those kids. You're not going to get that in your 50s and 60s.
How do you balance? And this is the hardest thing, I think, for a dad your age.
Yes.
I was that dad. When you're having children in your 30s, balancing the demands of work and the time you want to give your daughter and sons. That's a tough. I remember writing books, and there was a dormer window above my office, and I was kind of in a basement office. And there's that great Stephen Sondheim. I always cry when I tell this story.
Oh, no.
There's a Stephen Sondheim song called "Finishing the Hat," and the lyric goes, and it's about an artist who's painting a hat. And he says, I'm finishing the hat, looking at your life through a window while you finish the hat. And it used to stick like a knife in me when that would come up on my playlist, because I was watching my babies out on the play sets playing. But you got to finish the book, because that's what keeps them fed and keeps us going. Yeah. But there is that tension between a dad and the work and being there for the family.
Yeah, it's something I'm working on as we speak. My wife and I literally just had a whole conversation about this, because I think it's the problem of, I guess, the well-intentioned dad is like, I am going to go out there and provide, and I'm going to kill it, and I'm going to do whatever I can to set these kids up for success, and I'm going to go bust my butt to do it. And while you're doing that, you can miss, it's the song about the hat. Like, you're going to miss things go by. Like, for me, when we're at our best, and I'm working on this as we speak. Like, I'm no perfect dad. I'm working on this. I feel like you should I need to hear your advice. But for me, it's like having a few non-negotiables, like a weekly date, it doesn't have to be like a whole dinner or anything. Just take them for, a coffee or
just you
or a
and
cupcake.
The kids.
Just me and one of them. Yeah, not my wife, not just me and one of them. Yeah. Do something by ourselves. Like, that's a non-negotiable, and I'm getting better at making that a thing. But they crave that time. Like, they crave it.
They do. No, it's critical. It's critical. And you talked about it earlier. You have a finite amount of time. Yes. You think you have forever. Yes. You really don't. I can tell you, we're empty nester. They're all gone. All my babies are gone. You feel it.
This morning, Raymond, when I woke up, I was the first one out of the house because I had an early morning, and I saw my wife in bed with all three children, pretzeled all over the bed in weird ways, laying all over her, and my wife's barely sleeping, right? Because they're just strewn about. And I took a picture of it, and I sent it to her, and I said, these moments you'll be craving this one day.
You will.
And as hard as it is now, you'll be craving this one day. It was such a beautiful little scene. I literally stood there and stared at it, because I was like, oh.
No, it's good to see those moments. And it's hard to see them when you're in a rush and you're moving and you're trying to get things done. Yeah. I totally understand. Tell me about your faith and how your faith has changed what you're doing. I know it's important to you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You know, that's part of that maturing process for me. You know, I finished this big Disney show. I have this career, but I feel this longing in my heart in my late teens and early 20s. And I have all this money and I have the things that they say you should have to feel good and feel successful. But I had this longing. My heart was restless. And I went on a journey. I went on a search. And by the grace of God, found Christianity, gave me direction. It gave me the hope, which was an objective claim of something you can pursue forever. And it won't be easy, but there's means that can help you along the way.
Were you raised Catholic?
Italian, Catholic, culturally, like.
But kind of.
I had no belief. I mean, in my teen years,
Cultural Catholics.
Totally. I was crazy in my teen years. I was off the rails. And you know, I found it and I started pursuing it, and it gave me the direction that I was craving, and it gave me purpose to this day. Like now I just formed an entertainment fund it's called the Novo Inspire Fund, and it's all about promoting truth, goodness, and beauty in the culture through powerful storytelling. So we're going to make all sorts of content that will give positive messages, and I think that's what people want: messages of unity, of objective world systems and views that are universal, that aren't time specific. I think people want that right now. And
is that part of the reason you think young men? We're seeing this. The demographics show us.
Yeah,
young men in Europe, in the United States, are the growing demographic for faith. Going to church, returning to sacraments, interest in the Bible. It's all mainly young men.
Yes.
What is that phenomenon about?
I'm so excited about this because I think I saw a statistic recently, and I hope it's true. But that said that that 2024 was the first year in the Catholic Church that 18 to like 40-year-old men were the majority. And in like a half a century or something like that. And that's a cool stat. And I think the reason is because men, we crave structures and system, and we crave orthodoxy. I think the past 40, 50 years, the church has been very nice and very fluffy and very not embracing the nature of a man. We seek, I don't know if conflict is the right word, but we seek
a battle.
A battle. We seek truth.
We want something to fight against.
It's in our nature to want to get out there and do something, you know? And I think men didn't see that calling in a lot of the churches, Protestant and Catholic, throughout the United States. It got so fluffy and nice that it felt weak. And I think you're seeing the opposite happen now, where there's this massive pushback and this rise in orthodoxy in all church communities, Protestant and Catholic. The ones that are bringing orthodoxy, that lit flame back into the occasion. This is why you're seeing men gravitate. I mean, if you look at the traditional Latin Mass, the Latin Mass community exploding.
I know.
13% growth year over year.
What do you think is driving that?
It is. We grew up a fatherless generation. My generation grew up with the father's your friend, and like we didn't grow up with the desperate guidance that we needed as men to help shape us into men. The traditional Latin Mass, what that offers is that guidance, is that structure. We felt like we missed out on an inheritance that was rightfully ours. We, converts like me, came to the table and we went, I remember I was randomly invited to a Latin Mass. I had no idea what it was. I was just going to daily Mass, and I felt like, man, where's the real teaching? Where's the fire? Where's the fervor? These people are more dead than they're alive. Like, where's the excitement? Am I crazy to be excited and be Catholic? Like, am I crazy? And then I got invited to this old Mass, and everyone was like me. And there was kids, there was young people, there was young husbands and wives, young families that by the time you're in your 20s, you got a few kids. I was like, what is this? This is amazing. And then I learned about it.
That's why we should never call it I call it the Roman Rite. You should never call it the old Mass. It's the eternal Mass.
Yes.
This thing is forever new. It's like on fire.
It's on fire. And I feel like it's exploding because people like me are walking into it and we're learning about the history and we're going, we were robbed of this. This should have been handed down to us. This is the Mass of the saints. And by the way, I go to any Mass that's valid and licit and available. I'll go to all of it. You're seeing this in the Novus Ordo as well. When they're putting back up the altar rails and they're putting the tabernacle where it belongs and they're bringing in bells and smells and liturgical beauty. we gravitate towards it. We want that, and it's exploding. So I think it's an exciting time, a very exciting time in the church right now.
No, I agree. Tell me about Cross Catholic Outreach, a group you're involved in.
Yeah, so
I see you posting on social media such beautiful stuff from Guatemala, from Brazil. Tell me what that is, how you got involved.
So I've been, I'm an interesting, if you look at me from like a brand perspective, you're like, who is this guy? Because I have a big following at 15 million followers, but I grew up in Disney, grew up very much in the secular world. But I have a big following, and my heart is Catholic. I'm Catholic, and I love that. And so I've been struggling with, just personally, how do I thread this needle of loving my audience and being respectful, but at the same time being myself, and there's nothing worse than an actor with a message, right? It's like, just dance, monkey. And I think we all know and understand that. So I'm aware of that, and I don't want to be that guy. So it's a fine line for me that I've been balancing in my mind. But I am Catholic, and it is my heart, and I want to be authentic to my following and be myself, right? I don't want to not be myself. So I met Cross Catholic as an organization, and I got to witness them enacting the corporal works of mercy all over the world. And when I saw that, I said, that is so universal, that is so powerful, that is such a gesture of love. That's the perfect way to share, to share the good news with my following, because it is such a beautiful way to spread the heart of the good news. And that is why I felt called to it, because I said, I'm in this conundrum, how do I do this? And then insert Cross Catholic Outreach. That to me is like, that's perfect, because who is not gonna admire helping those in need? And I'm an ambassador for them. It's been a wonderful journey. I'm going on another mission trip this year with them. We're trying to decide the country right now, but I went to Dominican Republic, I went to Guatemala, and just had great experiences. I got to bring my wife as well. She got to meet a lot of the folks there, so it was wonderful.
Now, you just did a series in Rome on beauty and truth and goodness and history. You took the family along. James, your 4-year-old, did not have the greatest experience at an Italian restaurant. I don't mean to bring up dark moments, but being Sicilian,
100%, yes. Yeah. He had an anaphylactic reaction, so it turns out that...
To what?
So here's what happened. We went to this restaurant. We check every menu, because I know he has tree nuts, pine nuts, pistachios, cashews. He's terribly allergic to these things, right? So going to Italy, I was ready to be very careful. So we look at the menus, we go, hey, pasta pomodoro, very simple, tomato sauce, pasta, no nuts, nothing. I spoke to the waiter, I said, hey, this is pasta pomodoro, my son, severe allergies, that's it, right?
Sansa pine nuts.
Sansa pine nuts, no pine nuts, pinotti, no pinotti. And they said, yeah, sure, fine, great. It's no pine nuts, it's just pasta and tomato sauce, great. Brings it out, he starts eating it, his lips blow up, his tongue starts to swell.
At the table.
And I literally go, what the hell, to the waiter, and he goes, I don't know. I go, call the police immediately. He runs back in the kitchen. The place the pasta was boiled, the water, they had just made ravioli, which had pine nuts in it.
Oh, boy.
The ravioli burst in the pot, and at the bottom of the pot was pine nuts. So it was made in the same thing that pine nuts was made in. So I learned a big lesson. Make sure the water is separate, fresh, new water. If you're ever making pasta with severe allergies, like make sure that's separate. And thank God the EpiPen was there, because I EpiPenned him. It stopped it in its tracks immediately. But oh man, there's a minute where you don't know if it's going to work or not, because EpiPens can fail.
Yes.
So in that minute, I'm looking in his eyes and I'm going, this could be the last time I'm staring in my son's eyes. Like, that's a very real possibility here. And so I'm just looking at him, praying, like, please help him. And thank God it stopped it in its tracks. He's totally fine. He was himself within an hour.
Wow.
And that's how I started doing that docu-series called Seeking Beauty.
That was the beginning of
That was like day 2.
Oh my God. Oh. That means it's going to be a good shoot. Anytime you get those, look, everything I ever touch, David, in fact, I told my friend Jonathan, who is my collaborator and sidekick in arms here, when we started this, I said, you are going to have obstacles you have never faced in your entire life because of the nature of what you're doing. If it wasn't worth anything, it'd be the easiest shoot possible. And I envy those people who have shoots and projects like that, but
I couldn't agree more. Like, I literally turned, because the crew the next day was so concerned. They're like, do you need time off? Da, 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 da. And I said, guys, I take this as a great sign. I take this as a sign that we're doing something right. Yeah. We need to continue forward. More stuff's going to come, but we need to continue forward. My son's okay. It's all good. Let's crush this. And it was a fabulous shoot. I can't wait for everyone to see it.
Yeah, it'll be beautiful. I can't wait to see it myself. The Wizards of Waverly Place renewed for a second season, the most watched premiere in Disney Plus history, I guess, for a series.
Yeah.
Why do you think they keep coming back, and what do we expect the next season?
Yeah.
Give me a little something. Come on, David.
It was a blessing that it set the record, and it was so well received. But now for the second season, we got that on our shoulders.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you're a victim of your own success because people are expecting a lot. So I'm really excited about this because
is this the Harry Potter crossover? Is that what's happening?
That'd be cool.
Okay.
That'd be very cool. Crossover is a great idea. Maybe we do a crossover.
Third season.
Go ahead. So going into the second season, I said, okay, the first season was always like a prequel because the way the first season was structured, no one knew about my character's past. My children, my wife, no one knew that my character was a wizard. No one knew I had these secrets, and it was me reintegrating into that old self and redefining him and being honest with my family and apologetic and everything. So coming clean with my family, learning how to be a family again, right? So that was the first season. And now the second season, my kids realize, wait a minute, Dad, if you're a wizard, then we're wizards. Then we have power now too. So what's cool about this second season is almost like the first season of the original show, where we now have a wizard competition. We have children who realize they're wizards, and they go, wait a minute, we're all competing with one another to become the family wizard. There can only be one. So what's cool about the second season is it's really like the first season, and it was that last season was a prequel to this season. And I'm very aware of all the feedback from the fans in terms of, what about this character? What about that character? Are you bringing them back? What's happening here? And I will say we're very aware of it. And you can't do everything in one season. Okay. And stay tuned is all I'll say. I can't say too much, but stay tuned.
So a little news. There will be a returning beloved character.
So here's how I'll answer that, Raymond. And I'm sorry I can't be as precise as you'd like. We know the characters that you're really rooting for. We're very aware. And I really want you to watch this season. You can speculate as to who it is, but we're very excited to take our time and bring people back in ways that are incredibly, incredibly meaningful. Mic drop moments.
Okay.
Get ready.
Okay. All right. What do you want to do next after this is over?
It's a great question, Raymond. So I'm focused on producing projects that are true, good, and beautiful.
I know that. But what do you want to do as an actor?
As an actor, so I have so I'm really excited about this. So I have a kids show that we're developing right now that's going to be coming out. I can't announce where it is, but I'll tell you the show.
Okay.
It's called Halo Heroes, and it's honestly a show for my children. So my kids don't have a lot to watch. They're 6, 4, and 2. There's not a lot of safe programming out there and educational programming. So I wanted to take a wishbone structure or a wildcat structure and bring it to the faith. So we created a show called Halo's Heroes. It's me, my brother, and Jonathan Rumi. And it's essentially a show where 2 Catholic adventurers go visit a place led by their mentor, who's Jonathan Rumi. And he sends these brothers to a place where the saints actually walked. And he says, you guys are having conflicts in your brotherly life. You're going to go walk in the footsteps of a saint, and I'm going to transport you back in time, and you're going to go on an adventure with that real saint. So it's live action and animation.
Don't let Jonathan send you on the Saint Cecilia adventure. You'll lose your head, and you don't want to do that. that may not be. There are a few of the saints I'm thinking.
How do you do that?
Saint Rita with the eyeballs. Maybe skip that one.
Yeah.
Okay. Of course, I go right to the macabre.
Yeah.
Maybe I know somebody else who might produce that series for adults. That'd be teens and adults.
Yes.
Okay. There is an Arroyo Grande questionnaire that I ask everybody who sits here. These are rapid fire, but they're very important, David Henrie.
I'm ready.
Who is the person you most admire?
My father.
Oh, why?
You know, he faced great financial hardship in 2008. He came from nothing. He built a very successful real estate company in Arizona. Again, came from nothing and lost it all. Lost everything. I saw him. We had cars pulled out of our driveway. He had, literally hundreds of homes being built at the time in '08 in Arizona, and he lost everything. And he had a friend commit suicide because he lost so much money.
Wow.
And he didn't quit. He didn't quit. He wasn't crushed. I mean, if I lost everything that I've worked for right now with my wife and kids, I just built a home in Arizona for my family, a home in Idaho for my family. Like, if I lost that, my dad literally built my mom's dream home, gone, lost it, handed the keys back to the bank before he even moved in. And he lost everything. And he did not give up. He said, I'm going to pursue something else now. He changed careers and he pursued a completely different career. And he became a producer, actually, started getting in film and TV. And that led to us joining forces. And now we started a company together and we work together. But my father, because I saw how much stress, the lawsuits, everything. I mean, anyone who had, and he had two hotels, massive hotels. Like anyone who had a lot of property in Arizona in particular, were really hurt. We're really hurt. I mean, illegally by the banks. A lot of the stuff that they did was not ethical. And yeah, it was bad. So my father.
Who do you despise?
Who do I despise? Who do I despise? Because I just made a series on beauty and I was in Rome and I saw all the most beautiful stuff.
Yeah.
Abstract artists.
Not only one person,
all of
a
them.
whole class of people.
Pollock, just throw them all there.
Wow.
And I know I'm going to upset a lot of people over that statement, but
Not
abstract.
me. I'm with you 100%.
It's nothing.
It's a blight to the eye.
It's an eyesore, and it lacks symmetry, clarity, radiance, proportion, beauty. Like it is. I'm so confused. I'm so confused. I see it, and I'm literally confused.
Yeah.
You know it because you put a child in front of a Pollock painting and then in a Caravaggio, and just watch their reaction.
Yeah. The child always knows.
The child knows. Like just look at their reaction. It's built in us. So I despise abstract art.
Okay. What's your best feature?
My humility. No. I feel
what's your worst?
Yeah. My humility. Yeah. No. I feel like that's not funny. I shouldn't laugh at that. But my I work really hard on trying to understand everyone I'm in front of. And so even if I'm in front of someone that I disagree with, I just try really hard to know that they are understood.
Except Jackson Pollock.
Yeah,
I know. Go ahead.
I'm like, make sense
I'm just
of it.
taking notes.
I stood in front of a Pollock painting once, and this is a buddy of mine's house, and he paid like $30 million for this painting. And it was a male symbol. It was just confusing strokes of the brush. And then it was a phallic male symbol at the bottom and a skull at the top. And he goes, "What do you think?" And I'm like, "I get it, life and death, right? That's what we're going for, but explain it to me, like like, is that what we're doing here?" Like, and he went on this whole thing, and I was like, here's why it doesn't make sense to me. If you remove your explanation from it, then I'm just coming upon
horror,
a bunch of fluff, like
ugly horror.
Ugly horror.
This is what I always say when people are paying $1,000 a seat on Broadway. Everything is standing ovation by the end because I just dropped $1,000. It's got to be great.
100%.
The price tag drives up the excitement and enthusiasm for the work, whether it merits it or not.
Where if I stand in front of a Caravaggio and no one's explaining it to me, I can sit there and I can go, whoa. I could sit there for an hour and get something new every minute.
It's reaching you in a different way.
It's reaching you in a different way. Yes.
Okay. The greatest virtue is what?
Humility. Well, charity. The greatest.
You're stuck on humility, aren't you?
The greatest supernatural virtue is charity. The greatest natural virtue, the root, is humility.
What do you fear?
So many things. Rejection, failure, being looked at as lowly. These are things I struggle with. Yes, these are things I struggle with.
Look at you as lowly, my Lord.
As a kid who kind of paved his own path and doing his own thing, you're always fighting. I think you always see yourself as like I gotta make it. And you're in my business. There's no stability.
Is that the burden of the child actor?
Totally.
See, I came to it later, but you came to it as a child.
Totally. You're totally dealing with that. Oh, as a kid, you audition for 10 things. You might get one if you're really good. You might get one, but you're constantly being told, no, you're not good enough.
Yeah.
And so it's something I work on to this day. I'm constantly going, I got to get rid of that. I got to get rid of that baggage. And I'm constantly working to heal that. And I had good parents. So it's like, imagine coming up in this business
and having no parents.
And having no parents. Like you're in a tough situation.
What's your favorite book and the last one you read?
Ooh, okay, that's a great question. I'm reading a couple pretty heady books right now. I'm reading a book called by Tangeray called Mystical and Ascetical Theology: The Spiritual Life. It's a pretty dry read. And then I'm reading one called How the Church Built the Western World.
Oh yeah, that's a good book.
That's a really enjoyable read. That's a fun one.
Yeah.
The other one, very dry, tough to read.
That's a hard slog.
Very fun.
The title is so promising, but then you start to read it.
Yeah.
I always feel that about mystical anything.
Yes.
The mystics, mystical theology, it all starts to dissolve as the words are going into your mind. I mean, that's been my experience.
Holding wet sand, you're just seeing it
That's
go through your
exactly
head.
right.
It's
But
like,
then you come across somebody like a Mother Angelica or John Paul II, and you're confronted with the reality of what they're trying to capture on the page.
Yes.
It is pretty. It's a shocking and amazing thing to see up close. But reading about it is just no fun. I mean, it gets like reading about a flight. It's just not as fun as taking one.
100%.
What does David Henrie know that no one else knows?
Wow. These questions are great. What do I know that no one else knows? I feel like people know a lot about what I know. I mean,
no, through earned experience and your position, there are things you know that no one knows.
We've touched on a lot of this child actor business, and I think I have a really unique view on going through that process and trying to turn that into something positive. I think I have a really unique view on that, and then incorporating, your faith into coming out of that. I have a very unique. There's not many people who have gone through the business and achieved levels of success and come out with their faith intact, or even found it in the process.
Well, come out sober without face tattoos. I mean, this is pretty amazing. I'll take it. I'll take it. Okay, best advice you ever received. What was it?
There's a lot of. I've gotten a lot of good advice. Let's think here. For a lot of people in the faith space, they'll like this quote. There's no mission without margin.
Oh.
So unless you're a straight nonprofit, like if you're on a mission, you got to take care of people along the way. You got to make sure that you're returning people their money, you're achieving your mission. It's a hard balance. I love that phrase and I love that statement. Another one that I really like for younger people is friendship is like an elevator. It brings you up or it brings you down. And that was my buddy Alejandro Monteverde, who directed Sound of Freedom. And that one has stuck with me because you really are who you surround yourself.
Absolutely.
And you really become that. And so if you're surrounding yourself with people who are smarter than you, stronger than you, better than you, more virtuous than you,
you become that.
You're going to be called. You're going to rise to that occasion. I think that's a really important for people to surround themselves with, young people especially. Surround yourself with people you want to become. My dad always told me that too. He goes, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Like, make sure that you're in a room with very smart, and these people will bring you up.
Yeah, no, they sharpen you. My great-grandmother used to say, show me your friends, I'll show you what you're made of.
Amen.
It's a great line.
Amen.
Your biggest regret?
My biggest regret is that I left the faith at an early age. I mean, that's my biggest regret. Like, I would have loved to have, I formed bad habits, right? When I went my teen years and I went off the rails a bit, like that beget bad habits. And I would have loved to have stuck with that in an early age. I would have had that concretized in me. That would have been good.
If you weren't doing this, what would you be doing?
Raymond, I didn't go to college. I don't have a degree. I'm like, what would I do? It'd be something in sales, something with selling. Because if I get motivated by something, I can move people in something I believe in. Yeah. So something with selling a vision. I don't know, real estate, selling, something with a vision, or
the family business.
Yes, the family business. Yes, I would have gone in the family business.
Yeah. Final question: what happens when this is over?
It's a great question, because every actor fears this question. It's their greatest fear, because they get on a show and for the first time they have stability. They're on something that works for an extended period of time and that might go for years. Like actors don't know that. They don't know what they're doing next month. So this is a deep question.
It is.
Because when the show ends, it's a tough place for an actor because you go, what am I doing next? What if I never work again? What am I doing? So for me, I'm looking forward to getting to create and forge it. And Stallone gave me this advice, was like, he goes, you can only audition for so many things, kid. Like, take control of your future, take control of where you want to go. And for me, I'm really excited about this fund that I have and getting to make content that I think will really impact millions of people. So I'm excited. I'm working on it as we speak, and I'm excited to continue to stand that up.
Okay. David Henrie, always
You're the best,
pleasure.
Raymond. Thank you very much, my friend.
Thank you. A delight. Always.
Thank you.
Okay, here's the whole. David Henrie, like a lot of us, had a preconceived idea of what success looked like. But that all got turned upside down, and he suddenly found himself in a very different show than the one he had imagined. That would not only be his breakout role, but it led to his longtime friendship with Selena Gomez and his branching out into other areas of the business. You have to, at times, roll with events and be flexible enough to recalibrate as you go. If you do, like David, you'll find your way if you're grounded. And the other smart thing he did was marry and have kids young. Gen Zers, get cracking. The Wizards Beyond Waverly Place Season 2 hits Disney Plus on October 8th, and I'm so glad you spent time with us. Why live a dry, narrow, constricted life when if you fill it with good things, it can flow into a broad, thriving Arroyo Grande? I'm Raymond Arroyo. Make sure you subscribe to the show, like this episode. I hope you'll come back, and thanks for diving in. We'll see you next time. Arroyo Grande is produced in partnership with DP Studios, iHeart Podcasts, and is available on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.